I'm sharing my screen. Once you're able to see my screen, just say yes in chat box so that we can start the session. Okay. Okay. Let me know if you're able to see my screen now. Okay. So before getting into the topic, I'll give a brief explanation about. One second, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah. Once again, very good morning. Hope everybody's safe because of so much rainfall is happening. I request everybody to be safe position. Don't go outside until unless it is in a big emergency. Yep. So today's topic is the manufacture, storage, and import of hazardous chemicals rules, 1989. Yesterday we have discussed about SA 8000, which is social accountability standard. There we have seen total 9 requirements: health and safety, then wages. We have seen management system, then management review. We have seen welfare facilities, etc., etc. So today we are going to talk about this topic, which short is MSIHC rules 1989. So this specific rules are applicable for the where you are storing hazardous chemicals in large quantities, especially we can say all hazardous chemicals. So in this also there is a chance to ask about the 3 marks question, as well as you may get the 8 marks question, which is for the second section. So we can focus on first the initial definitions, then we'll go to the topic. So if you go to the definitions, so first you can see the chemicals, which are what is meant by hazardous chemicals. So here any chemical which satisfies the criteria laid down in the part 1 listed in column 2 of part 3 of the schedule, and also the chemicals listed in column 2 of the schedule 2, and also the chemicals in column 2 of schedule 3. So whatever the chemicals which are defined in these specific schedules and these specific columns will be comes under hazardous chemicals. ఓకే, అంటే ఏవైతే కెమికల్స్ ఈ షెడ్యూల్స్లో పెట్టారో వాటన్నింటినీ కూడాను హజార్డస్ కెమికల్స్ కేటగిరీ కింద వస్తాయని చెప్తున్నారు. Now we'll see what is meant by exporter. So here we are talking about hazardous chemical, hazardous manufacturing, storage, import of hazardous chemicals. We'll see what is meant by the export and an exporter as well. So if you see an export, we know it is in a general term we can understand easily with its grammatical variations, and also the conjugate expression means taking out of India to a place outside India. It is simple that whatever the goods you are taking out of India to other place, that is called export. You are sending an article, or means a substance or a product or a goods to out of India is called as export. Exporter means who is taking that activity. So simple that a person or an organization who are involved in the part of export, they will be called as exporter. For example, I am exporting a goods, so I'll be act as an exporter. Then what does mean by import? So import, export means taking out of India, or import means taking into India. So we are taking inside to India. So import with the grammatical variations and also the conjugate expression means bringing into India from place outside of India. సో ఎక్కడి నుంచి అయితే మనము అవుట్ సైడ్ ఇండియా నుంచి వేరే కంట్రీస్ నుంచి ఇక్కడికి మనం తీసుకొస్తాము కెమికల్స్ని, వాటిని ఇంపోర్ట్ అంటారు. ఓకే, దెన్ హియర్ ఇంపోర్టర్ అగైన్ సేమ్ the person who is bringing the material, importing the material hazardous chemicals. Then industrial activity. So where is the operation or process carried out in industrial installation referred in Schedule 4, which is involved or likely to involve one or more hazardous chemicals and include on-site storage and on-site transport, which is associated with that operation or a process. So the activities which are mentioned in Schedule 4, అంటే ఇక్కడ మనకి షెడ్యూల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, లాస్ట్లో చూద్దాం మనము టాపిక్ అయిన తర్వాత. సో అక్కడ ఉన్న షెడ్యూల్స్ ప్రకారము ఏదైతే కెమికల్స్ యాక్టివిటీస్ అనేవి జరుగుతున్నాయో ఒకటి లేదా అంతకంటే ఎక్కువ హజార్డస్ కెమికల్స్ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని దాన్ని మనం ఇండస్ట్రియల్ యాక్టివిటీ అంటారు. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో విత్ ది ఐసోలేటెడ్ స్టోరేజ్ అండ్ ఆల్సో పైప్ లైన్స్. Isolated storage ante we will have a storage where we store our chemicals in a certain area which is not so easily accessible, which is remotely we are storing that chemical. And also the pipelines which we are using for transportation of these chemicals also fall under this hazardous or industrial activity. Now we'll see what exactly this isolated storage stands for. So if you see an isolated storage means a storage of hazardous chemicals other than a storage associated with the installation on the same site specified in the Schedule 4, where that storage involves at least a quantities of that chemical set out of Schedule 2. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఐసోలేటెడ్ స్టోరేజ్ అంటామో ఆ సైట్ స్పెసిఫైడ్ ఇన్ షెడ్యూల్ 4, అంటే సైట్ షెడ్యూల్ 4లో స్పెసిఫై చేసినట్టు, అంటే అక్కడ చెప్పినట్టుగా ఆ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ మీట్ అవుతూ క్వాంటిటీస్ అనేవి మనకి షెడ్యూల్ 2లో ఉన్నాయి. సో షెడ్యూల్ 4లో ఉన్న ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని మీట్ చేస్తూ, అంటే దానికి అనుసంధిస్తూ షెడ్యూల్ 2లో ఉన్న క్వాంటిటీస్ కనుక మ్యాచ్ అయితే దాన్ని మనం ఐసోలేటెడ్ స్టోరేజ్ అంటాము. సో షెడ్యూల్ 2 బేసికలీ దిస్ టాక్స్ అబౌట్ the threshold of the quantities, which means how much quantity of chemical you are supposed to, or you must see that thresholds of that specific quantity. అంటే ఎంతైతే కెమికల్ని మనం స్టోర్ చేసుకోవాలో దాని గురించి షెడ్యూల్ 2 అనేది మనకి మేజర్గా స్ట్రెస్ చేస్తుంది. Then this is another important definition I could see in most of the years it is repeated. What is meant by a major accident? So if you see a major accident, so here we talk about specifically on the loss of life inside or outside the installation. It will be more than 10 or more injuries inside or and or one or more injuries outside, or release of toxic chemicals, or explosion or fire or spillage the hazardous chemicals resulting in on-site or off-site emergencies or damage to equipment leading to stoppage of process or adverse effects to the environment. Maybe yeah, it gives a bit confusion if you're reading initially. We'll read once again. A major accident means an incident involving loss of life inside or outside the installation. Means ఎక్కడైతే ప్రమాదం జరుగుతుందో అక్కడ లాస్ ఆఫ్ లైఫ్ అంటే ఫెటాలిటీస్, మనుషులు చనిపోతే అది ఎక్కడ ఇన్సైడ్ కానీ కంపెనీకి అవుట్ సైడ్ కానీ. ఇన్స్టలేషన్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ అబౌట్ వన్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ ద ఫ్యాక్టరీ. ఆర్ 10 or more injuries inside or 1 or more injuries outside. 10 injuries inside, 1 or more injuries outside. This is one category. One is loss of life, other one is injuries, and other is release of toxic chemicals, that is one. Then explosion, that is also one case. Fire, one, that is other criteria. Then spillage of hazardous chemicals resulting in on-site or off-site emergencies, that is other criteria. Then damage to equipment leading to stoppage of process, that is another criteria. And adverse effects to the environment, this is the last criteria. So in the all this criteria, so any one of is happened in your facility, so that will be comes under a major accident. Okay, then we'll see a major accident hazard, which is MH installations means. So isolated storage and industrial activity at a site handling, including transport through a carrier or pipeline of hazardous chemicals, equals to or in excess of threshold quantities specified in column 3 of schedule 2 and 3 respectively. సో ఈ మేజర్ యాక్సిడెంట్ హజార్డ్ ఇన్స్టలేషన్ ఏమంటాం అంటే ఏ కంపెనీని మనము మేజర్ యాక్సిడెంట్ హజార్డ్స్ ఇండస్ట్రీ ఆర్ ఇన్స్టలేషన్గా చెప్తాము అంటే వెన్ యు ఆర్ రిఫరింగ్ షెడ్యూల్ 2 ఆర్ కాలమ్ 3 ఆఫ్ షెడ్యూల్ 2 అండ్ 3 అంటే షెడ్యూల్ 2లో ఉన్న కాలమ్ 3ని తర్వాత రిఫర్ చేస్తే ఆర్ షెడ్యూల్ 3ని కూడా రిఫర్ చేస్తే అందులో ఉండే యాక్టివిటీస్ లేదా ఇండస్ట్రీస్ని లేదంటే అక్కడ ఉన్న కెమికల్ క్వాంటిటీస్ని మనము మేజర్ యాక్సిడెంట్ హజార్డ్ ఇన్స్టలేషన్ కింద కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాం. ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్స్ యాజ్ ఆఫ్ నో? ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్స్ యూ జస్ట్ పుట్ ఇన్ చాట్ బాక్స్. ఓకే, విల్ అడ్రస్. Then pipeline, we know pipeline fit is it is together with any apparatus and also workers associated with it. It is used for to transport the chemical. And schedule means schedule appended to these rules. Then site means any location where hazardous chemicals are manufactured or processed, stored, handled, used, disposed of, and also includes a whole of an area. It is sites majorly. It is talks about the area where we have our installation. Then we should know whenever you're reading through this document, MSIHC rules. So the threshold quantities are very important. Whenever these specific rules are applicable to your facility, whenever you are exceeding these threshold quantities, or you are maintaining, you are storing those kind of chemicals, so you will be fall under this MSIHC rules. In the case of hazardous chemicals specified in column 2 of schedule 2, then and quantities that are in the column 3 or 4, and in the case of chemicals specified in column 2 of part 1 of the schedule 3, and also the chemical specified in the corresponding entry in column 3 and 4. So these are the various uh, sections you can see the threshold quantities. Then we'll talk about duties of authorities. It is not so important that we can go through. So inspect the industrial activity at least once in a year, calendar year. That is the one thing the authorities has to do at least once in a year. Wherever these MEAH installations are there, they have to inspect. Then expect where such authority in Ministry of Environment, Forest and the annual report on the compliance of the rules by the occupiers to the Minister of Environment and Forest through appropriate channel. Then subject to other provisions of these rules, perform duties specified in column 3 of Schedule 5. In Schedule 5 also there are certain duties and responsibilities which are defined. We'll see in the further discussions. So here also we have general responsibilities of this occupier during industrial activity. So if you see specifically here, it is about identify the major accident hazards and take adequate steps to prevent such major accidents and also limit their consequences to the persons and also environment. So here also we have to identify the major accident hazards. Then we have to take appropriate action so that we can able to eliminate such incidents, and also provide a persons working at the site with the information, training, and equipment, including antidotes and necessary to ensure their safety. Then notification of major accident. So in case of any accident happens, how you are going to inform. So whenever any major accident happens, like a major accident already we have seen, within 48 hours, we have to notify the concerned authority as defined in the Schedule 5. So once you see the Schedule 5, so we could see who and all authorities, or else, yeah, and also in Schedule 6 as well. And the concerned authority shall be a receipt of a report of in accordance with the sub-rule 1, and also shall undertake the full analysis of the major accidents and set the requirement information within 90 days to the Ministry of Environment and also Forest through the appropriate channel. Once any major accident happens, the concerned team members has to do a proper investigation, and within 90 days they have to give the report to the Ministry of Environment and Forest. And an occupier shall notify to the concerned authority steps taken to avoid any reception of such occurrence, and also the concerned authority shall, in writing, inform the occupier of the any leniency which is opinion needs to be rectified to avoid the major accidents. In case of any corrections to be done, the concerned authority will put to the occupier in a written manner. So the industrial activities to which rules 7 to 15 apply. So what kind of industries, for which industries these rules are applicable from rule number 7 to 15. One is where an industrial activity in which there is involved a quantity of hazardous chemicals listed in column 2 of schedule 3. First is ఏదైతే ఒక కెమికల్ ఇండస్ట్రీలో మనకి షెడ్యూల్ 3లో మెన్షన్ చేసిన కాలమ్ 2లో ఉన్న క్వాంటిటీస్ కింద మ్యాచ్ అయితే which is equal or more than the quantity specified in the entity for that chemicals in column 3 and 4, these rules are applicable. It is majorly talks about the quantity of chemical you are storing in. Then isolated storage. Okay, sorry guys. I lost the power in between. I'm very sorry for that. I'll start again. Uh, okay, hope I'm audible and you're able to see my screen. So we are discussing about the industrial activity to where these rules are applicable. So if you see these rules, wherever the quantities which are equal or more than that, the quantities are which are equal to or more than the quantities specified in the entry for the chemicals in column 3 and 4, rule number 10 to 12 only for column 4. So this is the applicability of these rules. And what is the purpose of these rules from 7 to 15? Why these rules have been brought in? ఎందుకు ఈ రూల్స్ తీసుకొచ్చారు అంటే ఫర్ న్యూ ఇండస్ట్రియల్ యాక్టివిటీ మీన్స్ an industrial activity which commences after the date of commissioning into operation of these rules, and in the commenced before that date an industrial activity in which modification has been which is likely to cover a major accident hazard, and also the activity shall be deemed to have commenced on the date on which modification was made, especially for the new industries entities and also for the entities which are established before these rules. Then notification of sites. So this is also important. Whenever an occupier shall not undertake any activity unless he has been granted and also approval for undertaking such activity and has submitted a written report to the concerned authority containing the particulars specified in schedule 7 at least 3 months before commissioning of the activity or before such shorter time as concerned authority may agree, and also for the purpose of this paragraph. So before any owner or occupier is going to start this activity, he should inform the concerned authorities at least 3 months before, and the concerned authority within 60 days of the date of the receipt of the shall be approved, and also report submitted, and also consideration of the report if it is in the opinion of the contravention of the provisions of the act and rules made under has taken place, it shall issue a notice under rule number 19. Once you have submitted the report, then within 60 days they will give a response to the concerned application. Okay, then safety reports and also annual safety audit reports. This is also important. Subject to the following paragraph of this rule, an occupier shall not undertake any activity to which the rules applies unless he has prepared a safety report on that industrial activity containing the information specified in the schedule 8 and has set a copy of that report to concerned authority at least 90 days before commissioning of that activity. So here we have to prepare a safety report along with the application. We have to prepare a safety report as well to the industrial authority before going to submit, and also within the 90 days after the date of commissioning into operation of these roads. In the case of any existing activity, if it is the activity already is in existing, the occupier shall prepare a safety report in conclusion with the concerned authority and also submit the same report within 1 year of the date of the commencement of the manufacturing, storage, and import of hazardous chemicals 1994 to the concerned authority. So if it is already existing industrial activity, within 1 year we have to submit this report on yearly basis. Then after the commencement of this MSIC rules, occupier for the both new and existing industrial activity shall carry out an independent safety audit of the respective industrial activity with the help of an expert not associated with the such industrial activities. Here it is the annual safety audits comes in. So this annual safety audits, what will happen on the basis of this activity, every year they have to conduct independent audits by the third party, not in connection with any person who is linked with the organization. The occupant shall forward a copy of auditor's report along with his comments to the concerned authority within 30 days after the completion of such audit. So once you have completed that audit from the third party, after that we have to submit that report to auditors or authority, sorry, not auditors, authority within 30 days from the date of audit along with the corrective actions what you are going to take. Then safety audit report once a year by the conducting a fresh audit and also forward a copy of which with his comments thereon with the 30 days on concerned authority, and the concerned authority may in deems to fit issue improvement notices rule number 19 within 45 days of submission of the report. So in case whatever the comments you have mentioned, if those comments are not meeting the requirement, then the authority may give a reply within 45 days. These the actions or the corrective action plan which are not meeting the requirement of the audit observations, so they may suggest few other additional పాయింట్స్. ఓకే, ఎప్పుడైతే మనము వన్స్ ఇన్ ఇయర్ అనేది థర్డ్ పార్టీ ద్వారా ఆడిట్ చేసి వీళ్ళకి రిపోర్ట్ ఇస్తామో అప్పుడు వాళ్ళు ఆ రిపోర్ట్ మీరు రాసిన కరెక్టివ్ యాక్షన్స్కి సాటిస్ఫై అవ్వకపోతే మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళు రిటర్న్ రిప్లై ఇస్తారు విత్ ఇన్ 45 days. Then updating of reports under Rule 10. Where an occupier has made a safety report in accordance with the sub-rule 1 of rule number 10, he has not make any modification to the industrial activity to which that safety report relates, which should materially affect the particulars in that report unless he has made a further report to make account of those modifications and has sent a copy of that report to the concerned authority at least 90 days before making those modifications. So in case of any modifications we are doing, then we have to inform to the authority prior to that updation. 90 days before we have to inform. Then requirements for further information to be sent to authority. What kind of information we have to send? Where in accordance with the rule number 10, an occupier has sent a safety report and also safety audit report relating to the industrial activity to the concerned authority. The concerned authority may be notice served on the occupier, required him to provide an additional information as may be specified in the notice, and also the occupier shall send that information to the concerned authority within 90 days. So whenever the authority will ask for additional information, he